The night sky is full of wonders to behold. There is so much to see in your very own backyard with a telescope. Where should you start? There are more choices than ever for the beginner. In today's episode, let's talk about telescopes and what you should look for in your first telescope. Hi, my name is Eric. I'm an amateur astrophotographer and dad who loves to gaze at the night sky. It's late in the year, and the nights are getting longer in the northern hemisphere as the winter solstice approaches. And there's a whole lot more time in the night for some stargazing. What should you look for in a beginning telescope, and what should you expect to see? With a decent telescope, you should be able to see the red spot on Jupiter, the red coloration of Mars, the beautiful rings of Saturn, the craters of the Moon, and countless stars. Telescopes come in all different shapes and sizes. There are solar telescopes that are dedicated to viewing the sun. Traditional telescopes fall in three categories such as refractors, reflectors, and catadioptric telescopes, and smart telescopes. Let's go over those first. A smart telescope is a modern, advanced telescope that combines high-quality optics with cutting-edge imaging technology. These telescopes are designed to be user-friendly and are often controlled via a smartphone app, making them accessible for both beginners and experienced stargazers. Key features of smart telescopes include 1. Integrated electronics and connectivity. 2. They can be controlled from your smartphone or tablet. 3. They use enhanced imaging to get even faint objects in the night sky from light-polluted areas. And 4. They're beginner-friendly, having good interfaces for the beginner. High Point Scientific, the online store that I use for all my astronomy needs, has their top pick in this category as the Celestron Origin. A very affordable choice and popular among many is the ZWO C-Star S50. Vespera 2 and Vespera Pro provide some very detailed images, and the Dwarf Labs Dwarf 3 is a great and popular choice for portability and even daytime use. Before we dive into traditional telescopes, let me quickly tell you about my online store. I've been snapping up images of the night sky just south of the bright lights of Atlanta of nebulas, galaxies, the moon, and sun with my solar telescope. I enjoy sharing those images with you here on YouTube and through my social media channels on BlueSky, Instagram, TikTok, in elementary school astronomy presentations, and in person with family and friends. My images are available on wall calendars, challenging jigsaw puzzles, wall art, and more. Click the QR code here or check out the link below at astrobortle.bsky.social. And thank you for the support of my work. Now let's get back to traditional telescopes. Traditional telescopes are good for the beginner and the dedicated user. These telescopes fall in three basic categories: refractors, reflectors, and catadioptric telescopes. Refractor telescopes use a lens to refract or bend light to form an image at the eyepiece. To correct for color aberration, many telescopes use more than one lens, called a doublet or triplet, to help eliminate color fringing. All my current telescopes are refractors. Large refractors are great for wide-field astrophotography and deep sky observations. They're good for general night viewing and low magnification of the moon and planets. Reflectors only use mirrors to reflect light at various angles to the eyepiece. In the process, they magnify the image. These telescopes are often more affordable than refractors with the same aperture. Dobsonian telescopes are a popular telescope in this category of reflector telescopes. They are basically large telescope tubes mounted on a cradle that can swivel around in any direction. Reflectors are great for deep sky objects such as nebulas and galaxies. Catadioptric telescopes combine both lenses and mirrors in a compact setup that is more portable than the previous two types of telescopes. There are several types in this category and include Schmidt-Cassegrain and Maksutov-Cassegrain telescopes. Catadioptric are great for viewing planets, the moon, galaxies, and nebulas. Most, if not all, come with computerized controlled telescope mounts. Now that we know the 3 different types of telescopes in this category, let's talk about what you should look for in a beginning telescope. That would be aperture, magnification, telescope mount, cost, and ease of use. Aperture. In cameras and telescopes, the aperture is the opening in a lens which light passes through into the optical tube. The larger the diameter of the lens, the more light the telescope can collect. Aperture is measured in millimeters or inches. My Meade 80mm refractor telescope I'm using has an aperture of 80 millimeters or 3.1 inches. It's a great telescope for deep sky astrophotography, but really lacks the magnification for lunar and planetary observations, which you'll see here shortly. At a minimum, I would not go less than 3 inches for a telescope. If you want impressive views, I will look toward the larger end, around 8 to 10 inches. Why not even bigger? When you get into telescopes with large aperture, the price increases as well as the size and weight. If your telescope is too large, bulky, and heavy, is it practical anymore? You probably want to have a telescope that is easy to bring inside and outside for an evening of stargazing. The second thing you want to look for in a beginning telescope is magnification. Magnification is how much an object will be enlarged. In telescopes, it is determined by the focal length of the telescope divided by your eyepiece lens. Focal length in general terms is the distance between the telescope's primary lens or mirror and the point to which light rays come together and focus. All these figures are located on the telescope's specifications. So for example, my Meade Refractor telescope has a focal length of 480 millimeters. If I take this Celestron 32 millimeter colossal eyepiece, I get a magnification of 15 times larger than what I would see with my unaided eye. Since Jupiter is out tonight, let's check it out with my lens at 15 times magnification. These images were used using my Google Pixel 8 phone camera through the eyepiece lens. Not very big at all. Using my William Optics SPL 3mm eyepiece, I'll get 160 magnification. Here's what Jupiter looks like under this magnification. It's better than the 15 times, but my refractor has limits, as I've discussed before. What about telescopes that offer 1000 magnification on the package? Be wary. There's a limit to magnification called maximum usable power. This number is determined by multiplying the aperture of your telescope. If it's in millimeters, just double it. Or if it's in inches, times it by 50. My Meade refractor telescope is 80 millimeters, or 3.1 inches. So that comes out to about 160 or 155 maximum usable power under ideal conditions, depending if you're using millimeters or inches. Unless you're in a dark sky site with perfect seeing conditions and a higher quality telescope viewing a bright object, you will have less than ideal conditions. Magnification is limited by atmospheric conditions such as humidity, smoke, haze, wind, atmospheric turbulence, light pollution, your equipment performance and quality, and what you're observing, either a bright object versus a faint object. Using too high of a magnification may result in a shaky, dim, or blurry object. Be sure to check out the useful magnification of your telescope you're thinking of buying. Next, you want to think about the telescope mount, which will hold and move your telescope and all the attached accessories. You want to pay attention to the payload. If you're purchasing a mount that is separate from your telescope optical tube, be sure to add up all the potential weight of your ASTRO gear that your mount will carry to include your telescope, eyepieces, lens, filters, focusers, viewfinders, controllers, and counterweights. There are several types of mounts available: alt-azimuth and equatorial mounts. Alt-azimuth mounts move your telescope in 4 basic directions: up and down and left and right. They're perfect for lunar and planetary observations. Equatorial mounts, on the other hand, are designated to locate the night sky object, compensate for the rotation of the Earth along one axis, and they have to be polar aligned. They're perfect for the astrophotographer that needs the finest movements of a telescope for imaging tracking. A new type of equatorial mounts that has emerged recently are harmonic drive mounts, also called new wave harmonic mounts. Be sure to check my unboxing video on the ZWO AM3. Finally, you want to consider cost and ease of use. For the beginner, I would go with a telescope that's easy to use. This means the telescope and the mount is portable to transport from your living quarters to your night sky location in the yard. When you turn it on, you should be able to navigate on the menus on the computerized hand controller or app with ease. Orient the telescope with a few major stars. Tell your hand controller you want to see a visible planet or moon or celestial object. Press enter, and your telescope goes there, and after focusing, you are enjoying the wonders of the universe. I hope this has been helpful and you enjoy your new telescope. Be sure to leave a comment about your new telescope and how you enjoy it. Until next time, clear skies.